G'day guys, welcome back to On Point Adventures. My name's Brendan and today we are bringing you the review on the 54-pound Haswing electric motor. Now we honestly believe this is potentially one of the most underrated electric motors on the market and one that gets overlooked a lot, and we're going to explain exactly why. So if you're interested in having a look at one of the more budget motors on the market that's going to do everything you need it to do, then this could be the review for you. Let's go. First impressions. Well, our first impressions from admittedly a Minn Kota person was pretty good straight out the box. I mean, you had everything you're possibly going to need to get yourself on the water and fast. It's quite a striking, sleek looking motor. I think the head on the motor itself looked fantastic as well with, I guess it's fairly sleek design. I did like the fact that, of course, it came with quite a compact little remote like this little fella here. But as you can see on this remote here, there's no screen on it or anything like you'd find on some of the competitors' brands, but we can touch on that later. The mounting system seemed okay, and everything about it, I mean, as I said, it looked like an electric motor and it looked like it was going to do what it was going to do. So straight out the box, I think this motor looked pretty bloody good. Right, so let's talk about our experience with this motor. Now, as I said, before we get going on our full experience with this, I'm notoriously a Minn Kota bloke, okay? In my time, we've had Minn Kotas, we've had the water snakes, we've almost tried every single brand, even the Garmin Kraken. So this had a really, really tough time, or a tough task, I should say, standing up to those sort of brands. Now, straight away, as soon as we started using it, immediately we noticed how much quieter it was than the water snake, which was its major competitor, because the water snake is around the similar price to this. So of course it blew the water snake out the water immediately with how quiet it was, how responsive it was, and everything to go along with it. Now, one thing quickly I mentioned a bit earlier on was this remote didn't have the screen, which does make it a bit tougher when you're trying to work out what speed setting you got it on. In fact, you just don't know. You just got to go by feel. But what I'd like to say is this. The spot lock on this particular motor is absolutely fantastic. So it really made using this motor a dream. As I said, the motor was beautiful and quiet, beautiful and responsive, and certainly did compare and perform up there with the better motors. Now, just keep in mind with this motor has done a lot of miles now. It's been on the boat in all sorts of conditions, like in the ocean and so forth. It's been down bush tracks, it's done absolutely everything. So it has copped the flogging so far and still going really well. Now the price. The price is something that I think is one of the major positives of this motor. Coming in at around the $2,400 mark, you'll actually find that this motor is super competitively priced, and it is right there next to the water snakes. So it's about half the price of the major competitors in terms of Minn Kota, Motor Guide, Garmin, and Lowrance. Okay, but yes, the price at $23.99 thereabouts, unfitted, puts it really competitively priced in the lower end of the bracket, and something that I think as a GPS version of the motor is super affordable. So the pros and cons. Now this is a big one for this motor. Okay, we'll start with the pros. The pros are you're paying $23.99 unfitted for a motor that has GPS spot lock and almost every single mod con on the market. It has a beautiful app which is called the Helmsman app, and the Helmsman app enables you to use your mobile phone to set or plot courses, to actually drive the electric motor off it, and so forth. You also have a fantastic option of getting a foot pedal for this, which is completely Bluetooth, which links this. So if the handheld remote isn't for you, then maybe go for the Bluetooth foot pedal. This motor has been through hell and back, as I said, on the open water and so forth, and it's still performing like the day we bought it. So it has been fantastic there. The other pros was, of course, how easy this thing was to fit to the boat. Super simple system, and unlike the competitors where you've actually got to unbolt the side panels, these just click out like that. When you're done, click it back in, and she is away. But it's not all pros with this particular motor. As mentioned earlier, we've got no screen on this particular remote. And it's become very difficult to understand the electric motor based on, I guess, how fast you're going at all times. You actually don't know. So that's something, it's a bit of a guessing game. Now, I suppose if you're running the helms and that, you can see that, but who wants to be playing with their phone as well as a control and doing all that at the same time? I sure don't. Okay. The other thing I didn't like about this was essentially this system here. It doesn't fit snug around the gearbox of the electric motor. So as you can see, that's in the lock position and we've got a lot of movement there. So it is absolutely vital that when you're traveling or doing anything with the motor stowed, you must bring this particular clip here straight down and secure it up. So that's something that I think really could be improved by Haswing. Does it affect the performance? No. Is it annoying? Yes. The other con I've found also with these remotes is if you don't use the charging cable that is supplied with this remote, you will cook it immediately. And Haswing makes this very clear. However, I think it's a pain in the bum that if you lost your charging cable, you've got no way of charging this because no outside cable is going to do it. You need to contact Haswing, you have to wait for them to send one across, and then you're away. So there's another con for the Haswing. Alternatives. Well, as I've already mentioned before, the alternatives you've got is the Water Snake, which is roughly in the same price bracket. You've got your Garmin's, you've got Lowrance, Motor Guide, and Minn Kota, which are your main, I guess, 5 competitors. It was 5, wasn't it? I think so. But what I will say about this motor is, compared to its immediate competitor at the same price range, there is no competition. But anyway, let's save that for our last impressions. So as I said, the main competitors here, or the main alternatives if you wanted to look into something different or compare to, would be Water Snake, Lowrance, Garmin, Motor Guide, and Minn Kota. They're your other 5. And finally, would I recommend? Yes. Yes is the simple answer to that. Compared to the Water Snake, which is its, as I said, immediate competitor in the same price point, this is leagues and leagues in front of it. Absolutely leagues in front of it. Compared to the big competitors, there's some stuff that this could do to refine them to be a direct competition to them. However, there is one thing that this motor does better than any of the motors I've ever used on the market, and that is its spot lock. I will tell you now that this spot lock here is by far the most accurate spot lock on the market. Along with its huge warranty, in fact the biggest in the industry, and also boasts one of the smallest return rates out of any electric on the motor. I only know this because I've worked in the boating industry and we get to see what's going on. This here is a super alternative to the big brands if you want to save some money. So would I recommend? Absolutely. It doesn't matter your budget. It doesn't matter your expectations, because this particular motor here will outdo all your expectations and please you from start to finish. So anyway, guys, I hope that was a constructive and helpful review on the Haswing electric motor, and I hope it helps you decide maybe whether or not this could be the motor for you. Fresh or salt, doesn't matter. This motor will tackle it all. And as I said, that spot lock feature on this, unbelievable. All right, guys, until the next episode, I'll catch you later. See you on the next one.